What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Shepherding Preppers Farm. You may recognize the first part of this video because I actually cut this out of the most recent meal prep video that we did, just because the video was very long and I didn't know if it was really necessary to have an hour-long video. So I divided it into two pieces, and this is the part where I was doing breakfast type meal prep stuff. So we're just gonna jump right into it. So we are going to be working right now, in this particular moment, on making some breakfast type items. We're going to make a pumpkin strudel breakfast muffin. I want to use the same batter since it's easy to make a ton of it and then make things like muffin balls or pumpkin scones out of it. So I'm going to show you how we go about doing all of that. This for me does start off with a dry muffin mix. This is one of the things that we make pretty regularly, and we also make like a dry pancake mix, kind of like Bisquick, except you could, make it at home, or those bags of muffin mix that you can get from the grocery store. It's there, it's easy. You can see on the side of the muffin container I have the ingredients and the recipe written on it in Sharpie. So I will do a video on this very soon, so you guys can see what dry mixes we make by hand in our kitchen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link in my favorite standard muffin recipe, my kind of fallback when I'm not using this dry muffin mix. I'm going to link it in the description, and then all I did was add pumpkin to this. About half a cup of pumpkin puree. You can do more or less depending on your preferences. And this is where things are going to get, I would say, complicated, but it's actually not. Once you've added your pumpkin to your muffin batter, whichever one you choose to use, even if it's the one I link in the description, now you have your base. Your base is ready. And we went ahead and we made muffins out of these. Obviously, that was the first intended purpose. And we made some strudel topping. We made some strudel topping to go over the top of this. That's very simple. You need half a cup of flour, half a cup of brown sugar, and I think it's about half a cup of melted fat. It could be a little bit less. Again, I'll link it in the description. It's hard with my mom brain trying to remember exactly everything off the top of my head. But mix it together, it forms these awesome little balls, and you put this on top of your muffins. It bakes into it, and it's just extra delicious. Now, strudel topping. We made some strudel topping to go over the top of this. That's very simple. You need half a cup of flour, half a cup of brown sugar, and I think it's about half a cup of melted fat. It could be a little bit less. Again, I'll link it in the description. It's hard with my mom brain trying to remember exactly everything off the top of my head. But mix it together, it forms these awesome little balls, and you put this on top of your muffins. It bakes into it, and it's just extra delicious. Now, if you do not have silicone muffin liners, or if you find yourself in a pinch where you're out of paper liners, a really quick trick for that is to just cut up some parchment paper into little squares. 3 by 3 is probably more than fine. And then take them, put them in a bowl of water and let them soak for just like 30 seconds, maybe 60 at most, and squeeze them. And then all of a sudden that paper is going to become moldable, and you're going to be able to put it into your cupcake tray, which you'll see in just a second, and fill it up. And I feel like these look super fancy. They look like those brown paper cups that you're gonna get from, to me, they look like those fancy brown muffin wrappings that you get from bakeries. And they're really adorable. So if you're ever trying to kind of show off your muffins, to me, that's the way you would do it. So since we made 2 trays worth of our pumpkin strudel muffins, I used part of the dough to fill up one of these trays for donuts. That's what this tray is. It's a donut tray. You're supposed to be able to put batter into it and bake it into the oven. What we're doing is not exactly that purpose, although I could have left these and they could have been really cute pumpkin-shaped donuts. They're basically still muffins, just in donut shape. But what we did is we baked them. These cook really quickly because it's a lower concentration of batter. And then once this had cooked and cooled, we're going to use our food processor, put in about 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and a couple of tablespoons of your choice of coffee creamer. Whip that together into an icing. Then you're going to add your cooked donuts. You could also do this with muffins. I would just say you probably do about 1/2 tray of muffins worth in your food processor at a time, or if you wanted to do the whole thing, I'd probably use a cup of powdered sugar and like 5 to 6 tablespoons of coffee creamer to make your icing for it. Once you blend it all together, it forms this dough, which you're seeing, and that dough can be used with a cookie scoop to roll it out into a ball, and we call these muffin balls. I'm not sure how your kids are with muffins, but my youngest ones will leave a trail of muffin crumbs all over the house. No matter how many times I try to say, please, please eat at the table, somehow I get muffin crumbs on my couch and in my living room and in my shoes and just all over the place. There will be muffin crumbs. So, you can see Seth here showing off the cake stand he got me for Christmas. He's so funny. But yeah, so muffin balls are great because there's literally no mess. They stick together really nicely. They're delicious. They're honestly one of my favorite ways to have muffins. All right, so to make our muffin dough into scones, I took the remainder, which was probably about 1/4 of the original amount of batter that I made. And since I basically quadrupled this recipe, I would say this is probably about your standard size amount of batter to do this. And then what I did was I added 1.5 cups of flour into my food processor with my muffin batter, whipped it up, and then I worked another cup of flour into this on the counter. This formed a really dry, beautiful dough that turned into fantastic scones. I will roll these out to about roughly 8 to 10 inches. I'm eyeballing it so it's not perfect. 8 to 10 inch circles and cut it into 8 pieces. Put this on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper and then bake it at 425 for 15 minutes or so. And there you go. They're perfect scones. They're dry and crumbly and flaky and delicious. And then if you prefer a softer scone, just don't cook it for quite as long. You just need it to be a lightly golden brown on the top and it's good to go. And you can do this with pretty much any muffin batter recipe. If you add enough flour in to work it into a dry dough, it's fantastic for making scones with. Alright you guys, that is going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed making these awesome breakfast dishes with me. I hope you give it a try. Try using your muffin batter for not just muffins. Try doing some unique stuff with it. It's fun. If you have little ones, they'll get a kick out of it, and it's an easy way to make a couple of different breakfast meals all in one. I'll see you next time. Bye.